Wondered what would happen if the top 5 nations went to war with the world. Well, the top 5 nations might be able to win. And that's America, then Russia, then China, then India, then South Korea. So explain to me why France and Britain is in the Security Council. They're not even number 4 or 5. Yeah. And let's start with the Orange Empire. Yes, the Orange Empire. The Orange Empire is back. Definitely orange. As they attack Canada. Because they don't believe in borders. Yeah, they don't believe. They don't believe in borders. He doesn't know what a border is. The Orange King doesn't know what a border is. It doesn't exist in his mind. Well, let's take... Yeah, they already took all the cities. And you know who else they don't like? They also don't like Mexico. And yeah, he thinks he can trust dictators, I guess. And well, I guess number 2 is having fun. Yeah, this is your definition of having a good time. Well, let's see what the evil nations are doing. Yes, because they're red. All the red nations are evil. Definitely not speaking out. And you end up disappearing. What? With Central Asia being attacked and Pakistan quickly being overran. Even though they're number 12 maybe? Or number 10. Can't remember where they are. And well, Kazakhstan starts collapsing. And this is what the front looks like here. As forces from the Middle East are entering. And then they manage to overrun Bangladesh and they start overrunning Southeast Asia. You think Cambodia and Thailand are bad? Well, I got the solution. Let's invade them. Let's invade the world. We will invade everyone. In North Korea, oh no, they're too powerful. Oh no, they're going to win. Now I'm banned from entering North Korea. I'm probably also banned from entering a lot of countries. Let's see what Orange Man is doing. Oh, he's giving a crazy speech about something. He's lying in another spot. And what else? And he gets Alberta to rebel. Yeah. And he gets mad at someone. Yeah, that's what he's like. It's their fault. No, it's your fault. It's also your fault. It's not my fault. I did nothing. Yeah. But invade Mexico, and he invades Cuba. See, I'm the best at invading Cuba, he says. I can't imitate his voice. It's too annoying. Oof. I might be banned from entering the US now. Let's just hope they don't mind. And well, Orange Nation definitely has nothing to do with anything. As the Orange Nation takes over more of Canada and destroys Canada. Yeah, they're destroying Canada. And they take over this. And then Canada ends up falling. After they take over Greenland, which took no time because nobody lives in Greenland. And well, they start their advance to the south. And well, he's making South America orange. And well, he's putting people in the occupied lands. Because, well, he feels like it. And well, he takes all these cities over. And countries, even. As you can see, the front line stabilized there for a bit. But an invasion on Japan happens from 4 fronts. With a Chinese invasion from the south, a Korean from the east, from the west, American from the east, and Russian from the north. And quickly, Japan, despite being mountainous, is overrun. And America comes in and invades a few of these islands. With enough troops entering Australia to quickly take over all the valuable lands, the Indian invasion quickly moves into the last of what has value, basically. As Australia becomes the Emu Republic, because let's be honest, at this point it's only emus left. Western Australia, with them being overran, with European forces having to retreat, continue the European front as they push too far. And China taking over the Philippines. I can't imagine how much resistance this would have. Well, if it was Yugoslavia, there'd be a lot. And they continue their advance into the Middle East, taking Iran's capital, Tehran. And then moving into this area. And well, this area starts surrendering. And well, I hope this video does really well. So please share it to get more views. With Chinese forces arriving to the Russian front and advances are made, with Russian and Chinese forces pushing them back and taking back St. Petersburg. But Russia starts an offensive into Ukraine that actually succeeds, as they are fully mobilized. Not like they are currently. The man shall land into Finland. No, that never happened. And well, Kaliningrad falls back into their control. And well, their advances slow down. With them trying to take out Europe before it's too long gone. And while the front in Brazil starts opening up, with rapid advances down the coast, as they rapidly advance down Chile's coast, taking Santiago. And while they move around to take over Bolivia, as they move in to take cities such as Curitiba, Sao Paulo, Rio, Brasilia, and other cities in the region, with them managing to capture the capital, and then they move to take the rest of the cities. As they quickly take them over. And well, the fall of South America happens. Now, I can't imagine how much resistance it would have. With the European forces completely mobilizing and deciding to launch an attack as far as they can get. Their goal is to take out Russia before American troops can arrive. Yes, that's their goal. As they move millions and millions of forces into this front. And they even take Moscow, but yeah, no surrender. They move into more of Russia. And this leads to two minor pushback. But American troops decide to land in South Africa to open a new front to distract the forces. And well, yeah, Madagascar falls. And this means African forces have the return. And then they decide to launch one in West Africa. As they manage to get stalemates, Indian forces started attacking into Oman and Yemen. But the force is probably being spread as far as they probably can. With them all moving forces into Russia's front and take back Moscow. With America mobilizing to probably 10 million forces, maybe. Russia probably a bit more, 15 million. China's probably at 30 million, same with India. And while an Indian offensive into Somalia begins, well, the resistance would be out of control to occupy all of this. And well, Russian forces advanced to the borders, take back St. Petersburg, and they move for a Nordic offensive, which nobody expected them to go after the Nordics. First, they expected the Baltics to take back Kaliningrad. Well, with a lack of forces up, European forces there, they advanced pretty fast. But by the time they get to here, the European forces stall them down. So they invade the Baltics. And while with the offensive in North Africa speeding up, as Algeria doesn't have enough strength. And Ethiopia starts falling back. As Africa starts rapid mobilization, same with Europe, hoping it will work. But Libya ends up losing most of its land. As this ends up what Africa looks like. And then into the Middle East, you may be wondering. Well, Saudi Arabia is falling. And well, yeah. When people make fun of your videos, that's just great. How to get views? Use somebody else's video, basically. It's not great. And while they launch an offensive like this, with Europe going to have problems because, well, a lot of the world population is occupied. And an invasion of Iceland goes off well. The Nordics eventually fall, as they decide to launch an offensive over here. Split the fronts. Which, I don't know why, but the advances are slowing down. I guess because France, Britain, Poland, Turkey, and Italy are strong nations. But in the African front, soon Kinshasa is taken. And wow. Yeah, Tanzania ends up falling not long after. With European forces deciding to focus on their main home front. So they all withdraw from what they occupy. Which leads to huge retreat. And well, they think it's going well. But the front continues to move. With the Europeans focused on mass mobilization still, they start funding rebels. And you'll see why that's important soon. No. As they fall out of the Middle East and into Turkey. And well, and then they take over Ukraine and start moving into there. With American forces landing in Ireland and taking Portugal and Spanish lands. And well, yeah, they may be wondering, but something's about to happen. And no, it's not nuclear weapon. Yeah, rebellions. All over the place. Within the furthest points from borders, such as Africa, they quickly make advances. With there being so many fronts open up. Not Saudi Arabia all but liberates itself. Same with Iran. And into these rebels. The rebels in South America are very successful, whereas the ones near the borders aren't doing very well. As the ones in Mexico, Canada, and other areas gets taken over due to one reason. And while the speed at which the advances move is unprecedented, as after they rebel, a bunch of areas of these areas join them. And yeah, Africa's front quickly advances. Same with this area in the Middle East. With a rapid European invasion into Spain and Ireland and into the Nordics, and they take over the Baltics. With these rebels managing to declare their country again, as they manage to fully kick them out. Yes, the countries are becoming free again. As even India and China are having trouble. With Australia and New Zealand being liberated by the European powers and African powers. As they take more land, it becomes clear this is not a great situation. And also, those rebellions was to keep it interesting. The rebels taking over back everything. You may be wondering why the front had to fall apart in these areas. Actually, I don't like that idea to have it all fall apart. I think something like this is more realistic. With the fall of Russia inevitable at this point, after 3 consecutive invasions. With Russia falling and quickly being occupied by the world. And well, the world decides to do more, such as this. You know what else they do? An invasion of South Korea. And yes, they invaded North Korea, but since it was a different color, it doesn't look like it. Well, the Orange Empire is not very happy with this situation. How were those nations take back, you may ask? They did this. Yeah. With all of India's important areas falling, India is forced to fall. China decides to withdraw from the war. And America decides to start to withdraw. As they think this is done for the Orange Empire. Nope, it's not. In the south, the Green Rebellion breaks out. After they lost, they're quickly thrown into a civil war. And while a new front, basically socialist, but not socialist, more capitalist. And yes, there's two sides to the Civil War. Now, only two. With the Green forces kicking them out of key industrial areas, kicking them back to New York, a stronghold of this ideology. But on the other side, this ideology gets more and gains more and advances faster. With them having rebellion start and managing to get a rebellion in southern Florida. And while the Green forces end up surrendering. And while this nation agrees to peace, and the rest of the nations, yes, a lot happens to their borders. But most importantly, they're occupied till a treaty happens, which is not going to be soon. And well, that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, but not really subscribe. Bye, guys.